Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Do you know the number of mountains higher than 8,000 meters? Well, officially it is 14, however, this answer is no longer sure. Probably, if you come from a country that does not adopt the metric decimal system, you cannot understand the relevance of the problem. In fact, for you 26,246 feet has a less romantic sound. But if you live in Europe, with exclusion of UK, and you are a professional mountain climber, 8,000 is a deadly limit to be overcome at all costs. In the list of the 30 climbers who reached the top of all the 14 8,000ers, there are only 2 people coming from countries with British imperial and US customary metric systems, Lock and Veersters. In any case, for those interested in climbing 8,000ers, it is essential to know their number. It might seem an obvious statement in 2020. After having mapped all the planets several times with very high-resolution instruments, scanned the Earth by the space even under the mantle, it might seem a joke to say that the number of mountains above 8,000 meters is unknown. Well, probably it is. Apparently, mountains are not isolated cones grown in the middle of a plain, or a sea. The things become a little more complicated when a mountain rises within a chain. In this case, defining exactly where one mountain ends and another begins is problematic. Imagine for example the Himalayas. It is a chain extending for 2,200 kilometers per 300. How to distinguish if one is a peak with its own independence or just a subsidiary top? Something terribly similar happened years ago in Europe with the 4,000ers of Alps. In 1992, the International Union of Mountaineering Associations organized 3 independent research commissions, one for each interested state, France, Italy and Switzerland, drawing up a definitive list of 82 4,000ers. At that time, the topographic prominence was considered as main criterion of inclusion or exclusion. Prominence, also called shoulder drop, is the minimum height necessary to descend from a peak to get to any nearest higher one. Peaks with low prominence are subsidiary tops of some higher summits. For Alps, the cutoff value was 30 meters. Conversely, the list of 8,000ers was drawn up in the 30s and based on still rather limited topographical knowledge. They took in count the results of 2 Himalayan expeditions led by the famous German mountaineer Günter Dyhrenfurth. Despite the acquisition of countless geomorphological information and reports of many mountaineers, the number of 8,000ers has never been scientifically updated. The first to point out this problem was Luciano Ratto. He was the first climber to have completed the list of 82 4,000ers of the Alps. In accordance with the Alps experience, he proposed to the International Union of Mountaineering Associations to face the 8,000ers problem. Unexpectedly, he did not receive any answer. However, according to the principle of prominence, a group of experts interviewed by Ratto proposed at least 8 other peaks to be included in the list of mountains higher than 8,000 meters. In the Kangchenjunga group the Yalungkang, Central and Southern Kangchenjunga. In the Lhotse group the Lhotse Middle and Shar. In Annapurna, the Central and Eastern Annapurna. In Broad Peak the Central Broad Peak. Central Shisha Panga, Eastern Makalu and Southern Nanga Parbat should not be considered as single mountains. What do you think about this problem? Does the story of alpinism should be rewritten? Was Reinhold Messner the first to climb all the 8,000ers? Please leave your comment on this video with your idea. Have any of you ever climbed an 8,000 meters peak, or do you know anyone who has? If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button before you go. Don't forget to visit my social networks. See you at the next video.